I woke up this morning thinking, what is really interesting for today's topic? Maybe the French election, maybe NATO, maybe the fact that there are Chinese troops next to the Polish border in Belarus. But no, I think the French election is actually more important because what's happening in France is going to happen to every single right-wing party that is going to be in Europe, that is going to rally or just partake in the European elections going forward. Because in the end, they will label it far right every single time. It doesn't really matter if it's far right or not. It's just, to the right of a far leftist perspective. And that's really the trouble, right? We can read this article right here, okay? What happened in France's shock election and what comes next. On Sunday night, French voters had once again kept the far right out of power. On Monday morning, uncertainty, a hung parliament, shaky alliances, and a threat to turbulent years ahead. You notice how they label it far right? Marine Le Pen's party is apparently far right from a perspective of a far leftist. That is just the way it goes, especially since how much they really won in the European election, Marine Le Pen's party. It is unheard of that they should be called far right because they are the new moderates if they are the biggest party. So if the centrists are center, then they should be right wing and the left wing should be left wing. Nothing more, nothing less. But still, yet again, we get this manipulation taking place that they are the far right party. And it's just mind-boggling. And extremely annoying for someone who doesn't really want to see this happening, or extremely annoying to someone who gets manipulated easily, and you just stand there and just ask yourself, why do you have to label it like that? President Emmanuel Macron called France's snap parliamentary election to clarify the political situation. But after the shock second round results, the waters are more muddied than they have been in decades. While a surge in support for the left-wing New Popular Front (NFP), these people are far leftists if we're going to go by their standards of far right. But they don't label it far leftist. No, they just call it far left wing. I suppose they should call it really, but they just call it left wing, and that's not the entire truth. That's just part of the truth. This coalition foiled Marine Le Pen's far right party national rally. French politics is now more distorted than it was before the vote, before the shock election, or before the the snap elections. So what did we learn from last night? Who might be France's next prime minister, and has Macron's gamble paid off? I see so many TikTok posts about this, that they're happy about the results, like the far left is winning, whoa, and the far right is winning, whoa. It's like it's a good thing, right? But these people, they are just so naive and they don't understand politics at all. So it pisses you off, really. It pisses you off. A shock victory, but not a decisive one. A victory for the far leftist, you mean? Yeah, it's a victory for the far leftist. After leading the first round of voting last Sunday, the RN was closer to the gates of power than ever before, and was on the cusp of forming France's first far-right government since the collaboration's Vichy regime in World War II. You see how they label this? It's like they label it as a fascist state if they were to win. It's just incredible. But after a week's political bargaining, in which more than 200 left-wing and centrist candidates withdrew from the second round in a bid to avoid splitting the vote, the NFP, a cluster of several parties from the extreme left to the more moderate. Okay, so it's basically just a left-wing party, apparently. But if you're going to have views such as we are going to tax people that exceed 400,000 euros by 90%, that is an extremely left-wing point of view if you want to tax someone like that. But then again, does it really matter? Is this really going to happen? I don't think so. They emerged with the most seats in the decisive second round. NFP won 182 seats in the National Assembly, making it the largest group in the 577-seat parliament. Macron's centrist Assemblée Alliance, or however you pronounce it, which trailed in a distant third in the first round, mounted a strong recovery to win 163 seats, and the RN and his allies, despite leading the first round, won 143 seats. So you can see clearly here the result. They came, the far right party, or the far left party, no, the right wing party, sorry, they had 143 seats and they came in third. The centrist Macron party in second place, and the first place we got the left wing, far leftists. And it's just mind-boggling how this takes place in the modern world, how something like this happens. But then again, it's not surprising coming from some place like called France, right? So this was actually published today. Macron urges new mainstream coalition appearing to rule out working with the far left. So Macron, being a centrist and has a moderately decent backbone, I suppose, does not want to collaborate with the far leftists. It's not surprising. Nobody really wants to, but yet they're there. 3 days after the second round of France's snap parliamentary election ended, in a gridlock, President Emmanuel Macron broke his silence to urge mainstream parties to form a solid majority in the National Assembly and shut out the extremes. Meaning, he wants to shut out the far leftists and the far right, or in actual terms, the right-leaning party. The left-wing parties are still there, the centrists, but he doesn't want any right-wing parties. That's just what it means. France's vote, which Macron unexpectedly called after his party was trounced of all the words by Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally party in the last month's European elections, has tipped France into political limbo, after none of the three main blocs came close to forming an absolute majority. I don't think it's worth reading any more of this. It's just beating a dead horse at this point. So, like it said before, right, about TikTok and all that, the people celebrating this are just either very far left or just a minority in the actual country. People of diverse backgrounds in France welcomed far right's defeat, but fear a rise in hate speech. For many French voters of diverse backgrounds, last Sunday's parliamentary election results were a relief, seemingly an embrace of the country's ethnic variety, instead of a victory for xenophobic far-right forces. So yeah, they just basically just talk bad about the far right, I suppose, the right-wing parties. It was a moment of joy, a light at the end of the tunnel, Lauven Benismon said about the ballot results. She celebrated Sunday with thousands of others who rallied against the far rights at the Place de la République in Paris, France, around a giant patchwork French flag that read "France is the fabric of migrations." Okay, that's interesting. It's an interesting quote. But the fight is not over, said Ben Simon, 27, a black woman who works in communications. We have to fight against the racism we face every day, and which has been more visible in the past few weeks. This is just tiresome at this point. Thought to be on the verge of seizing a majority in the National Assembly, the anti-immigration National Rally eventually came in third in Sunday's vote. After centrists and leftists joined forces, candidates in three-way races dropped out of the runoff to favor the challenger considered most likely to beat the far right. So essentially, they are celebrating the fact that people don't want mass migration, and since they lost, it's a cause for celebration. They want more mass migration, apparently. It's going to affect everybody. Their pensions are going to be extremely low in the coming years because you can't have unlimited migration without any actual welfare states. It's just not going to happen. So if you want a pension, you can't have mass migration because it's going to defeat the entire purpose of a pension. But I guess the future pays for it, so who cares? It's just the thought process of these people. And I thought, okay, how about this? Parties that have joined the New Patriots for Europe Alliance, the Europe Alliance. We have basically every right-wing party, the leading right-wing party at least, in every single European country. Sweden, and notably Norway, is not on this list. Same goes for Finland, apparently. But the leading European nations are basically the ones joining. So it's a big thing happening. They will actually be the third largest group in the European Parliament. And I think I'll leave it there. Big things are happening, and to be honest, good things are happening. Leave a like, subscribe, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Definitely do share this though. That's the only thing that really matters to me. See you.